All right, guys, I'm Michael Allen for TravelCostaRicaNow.com. Oh my gosh, we're down in Rios Este at Sunset Del Mar Resort. We're at the relocation retreat. I don't believe I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be talking to my kryptonite in a minute, and you're going to know what I'm talking about in a minute. Like I said, guys, we're at the relocation retreat. The professor here is going to be talking, but if Costa Rica is on your radar and you're thinking you might want to live in Costa Rica, but you're not quite sure, the relocation retreat might be for you because there's no blowing smoke. It's the good, the bad, the ugly of living in Costa Rica. I believe that at the end of this 6-7 day event, you will probably know if Costa Rica is right for you or it's honey. We're going to Portugal. So I would love to see you down here. It's my favorite thing to do is to meet you guys. The next relocation retreat, the dates aren't set yet, but it'll probably be sometime in late February, March. But anyway, all the basic info is going to be in a link in the description of this video. Oh my gosh, my kryptonite. I can't believe I'm doing this. I don't even know I'm doing this. All right, so the professor, this is Carlos, man. He teaches Spanish.
Your kryptonite, I like that.
Oh my gosh. And you know, anybody that's been watching me for any length of time, it doesn't even matter how long, knows my bad Spanish is legendary, professor. There's no hope.
Kryptonite.
Why am I talking to you? This is serving. All right, so anyway, he's going to be speaking, I think, tomorrow, right? And he's going to be talking about learning Spanish and the importance of it in Costa Rica. Yes. And I don't know, do I agree with him? Maybe not. Do we really need Spanish? Maybe we don't. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you for talking to us.
Sure.
I really super appreciate it. So for those of you that don't know you, maybe like a little background of where'd you pick up your Spanish?
The streets. No, Mike, I was born in Bolivia, South America. Okay, so that helps. And my mother...
All right, we're starting off with jokes.
My mother was a teacher, right? And she always wanted me to get an education. And so I went to a private school in Bolivia with sons of ambassadors from the U.S., from Peru. So I picked up English because the private school taught half a day in Spanish, half a day in English. So I picked up English pretty fast. I was only 15. And then my family moved to the United States, Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri. And in high school, I picked up another language, French.
And Spanish was your first language?
My first language is Spanish, correct. Right. Yes. So English is my second language. You know, I'm a native speaker because I started speaking at the high school when I was 15. So since then. And then, but one thing I noticed when I was going to high school, I didn't have to use dictionary. So I hear a word in English and I say, oh, that sounds like this word in Spanish. I didn't use dictionary. Very few times I'll use the dictionary and I was right. I say, you know, this sounds like this, and I was right. And that's because there's certain things, there's a thing called cognates, and I'll talk about it tomorrow. Cognates. Okay, real quick. Like chocolate. What's chocolate?
Well, obviously vanilla.
Vanilla.
I think everyone caught that. So yeah. So that's what that is?
Yeah. It's called a cognate.
Well, it's obviously there's a lot of words that sound very similar.
Yeah, and those are called cognates. Cognates are a good way to pick up a lot of vocabulary. You know?
It's the only Spanish I know is the cognates.
Yeah, doctor. Yeah.
So, but you taught. You were a teacher. You did all that, right? So
so I went to school in St. Louis, Missouri, the University of Missouri in St. Louis. Then I went back to graduate school and I did international business. And by then I was picking up a lot of Portuguese. So the company that hired me sent me to Brazil. And I was there for a year and then another year. So of course I became fluent in Portuguese.
So this isn't new. You've been teaching English or Spanish or whatever for...
many years.
That's what you do?
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I do,
All right, cool. So let's talk about really quick, maybe I can learn some things here today.
Sure.
Why do some people just pick it up like a fork and then other people just like myself, it is just so difficult? Is there a type of personality? Is there a type of some part of your brain that is, because obviously it came easier to you.
Yeah.
So what's that about?
Yeah.
Well, diagnose me. Where's my problem?
you actually don't have a problem. I mean, you were able to get along here in Costa Rica for so many years. So it's really a mind thing. But there is the big difference is that language does not come through here, right? Language is not a visual. We don't talk with our eyes. Well, sometimes we do, if we're mad or something. But language has to come through here. So the first thing you have to do is develop this. So if you don't have this well developed, your hearing, then it's going to be more difficult to pick up for conversation. So it comes through here, then your brain goes through it, and you process it, and then it goes out this way. So you got to concentrate on this and this. If you're concentrated like they do in most high schools, they concentrate on reading and feeling, a lot of visual, but language is not visual. Language is auditory, right? So you have to concentrate in this, right? So I taught in Colombia to a group of, it was a symphony orchestra of young kids. They picked up the English really fast because musicians pick up English really fast because they can pick up notes for the guitar.
The sounds, the different sounds.
Yeah, the different sounds. They pick up the different sounds, so they pick up English very fast. So that's one very important thing. Develop this and develop this.
Now, what's your, I don't know what this is. Maybe you can explain this too.
Yeah.
There seems to be all over, like, what the kids watch, Instagram and TikTok. There's all kinds of advertisements to learn Spanish or to learn a language.
Right.
There seems to be all kinds of different theories. Obviously, anybody would know that obviously immersion is probably the best if you can do it.
Yes,
obviously, not
right.
everybody can do it. But what is it with all these different theories? Like, for instance, where there's some teaching where you're just repeating the word 5 times a day and you're using a simple sentence. So what is your way of teaching Spanish? Is that even a question? Or
No. It's a very good question. Yeah. I compare it to learning sport, right? Basketball. If you want to learn basketball, you can watch all the videos about basketball you want, but are you going to learn how to be in a team and maybe not even make it to the big leagues, but are you going to,
watching is not necessarily learning.
Right. So watching, you might pick up some things. You're going to know that in order to play basketball, you need a basketball, right? You need a ball. It's called a basketball. And you can buy a basketball from Wilson and from all these other. Those are tools. So you have to recognize that just having a tool doesn't mean you're going to learn to pick up or to do that skill. So if you have a lot of apps and a lot of marketing, then you have the tool, but you have to use the tool.
This whole learn Spanish in 5 minutes, learn 300 words in a week, converse in 6 days. What are those about? What are they doing? I mean, I've seen them. It looks, when you're looking at them on like the internet, they look legit. It's like, okay, that makes sense. You're looking at it for a minute. Okay.
Yeah.
So not that easy.
No. It's not that easy, but I'm a member of a Chamber of Commerce in Texas, and I tell you have to have a tagline. And my tagline is, I will teach you Spanish in 30 seconds. All right?
That's quite the tagline, Professor.
Yeah. So
I don't know if I believe you on that.
Okay, so repeat after me. Mi mamá me ama.
Mi mamá me ama.
Mi mamá me ama.
Mi mamá me ama.
Okay, your mother loves you. That's what you say. My mother loves you.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
You see, it's not even 30 seconds, and you already picked up the language. So I can make more videos and say, hey, I can teach you in 1 minute. But how much?
So what? Okay, so let me go back to my question.
Sure.
So is it like, should I start, like, if you don't really know what you're doing and you're like, okay, I'm going to be moving to Costa Rica in 6 months and I'd like to, they said, brush up on my Spanish. Should I be learning phrases? Should I be going through, okay, these are the nouns? Should I already be, what do they call it when you change the verb and all that?
Yeah, conjugation.
Should I be working on conjugation? Should I just be working on simple sentences? Should I be working on conversational? What's the most important focal point of, let's say, brushing up on some Spanish?
Right. So, like, this retreat is about finding out what to do to move to Costa Rica, right?
Right.
Same thing, right? You have to learn, you have to talk to a coach, and the coach is going to tell, the first thing the coach should do is give you an assessment. Where are you? You know, what did you learn so far, right? Do you already know this?
Yeah.
And then a good experienced coach is going to tell you, hey, Michael, you need to start more with this. You need to do more of this and this. All the things that you mentioned, okay? So all the things that you mentioned, yes, you have to do them, right? But who's going to tell you that? It's going to be a coach, a teacher. The teacher is going to assess you. It's just like a doctor, yeah? And he's going to say, hey, you need to exercise more because your heart, you know.
Right.
So the teacher is going to tell you, you need to spend more time on vocabulary. You need to spend more time on
Like pronunciation.
Pronunciation, yeah. So somebody has to give you a diagnosis of where you are with the language,
And then go from that.
and then go
point.
from there. That's right.
So, you know, I feel like they lied to us, because when I first came out here 18 years ago, it was a long time ago,
Yeah.
and we did want to learn Spanish. I was doing stuff. So I'm looking at the thing, and they're teaching me phrases. Donde el baño?
Yeah,
Where's the bathroom? But you know what? Okay, that's great. You know, but now you taught me how to say that, but I don't know what they're saying back to me necessarily. You know what I mean? So you're learning all these phrases to say something, but that doesn't mean you understand what's being said to you when they answer you.
Right. So that again depends on the teacher, right? So with my method, you're going to learn phrases that you know what the possible answers are going to be, right? So if I say, Michael, how is the day today? And it's
Muy bien.
muy bien, muy bueno, muy bueno, muy bien. Okay, so if you ask that to somebody, you know what the possible answers are going to be. So the teacher or coach is going to tell you that these are the possible answers. So you ask a question. If you're holding a conversation, you're going to know what the possible answers are. Because if you ask me, you know, how is it today?
So I'm looking for listening for certain words.
Right.
That
That's
I
right.
know that it's going a certain way.
Yeah. So you're going to listen for certain words that are going to say, yeah, muy malo, muy bien, hermoso. You're looking for certain words, right?
And I guess they're pleasantries anyway, so they're usually answered in the same todo bien, pura vida, you know, whatever it is.
That's right.
It's pretty basic.
Yeah. So that's important. You know, we don't want you to ask a question and then there's so many answers that you're going to be lost, right?
Yeah.
How's the political situation in Costa Rica?
Oh, Jesus. Can we start back with where's the bathroom, please?
You see, so then a good teacher, a good coach is going to lead you through that, right? You're going to navigate with the teacher about what you need to know, what you already know. But the teacher has to know what you already know, where you're going, and how long is it going to take. Okay.
What would you feel is a better starting point? Having an understanding of what somebody has said or speaking it? So if I could be perfect in either understanding Spanish or speaking Spanish, where would be the better point to start? Because I ask this all the time because you know, it is a different skill set a lot of times. Because I can, not that I speak very good Spanish, and I don't, but it's way better than me understanding it because I don't understand shit.
Yeah.
So what's a better starting point?
Yeah, no. Well, it has to be both.
Well,
Because-
I mean, obviously, but what would be the better one? This is for
better
me,
one?
a personal question.
Okay, yeah.
I think understanding.
That's a fair question. Then if I have to answer that, it would be listening, because you want to build this skill of listening
So understanding.
to understanding, yeah. And there's many ways to do that, right? Listen to music, right? Listen
Novellas.
to novellas.
I like
right,
the novellas, man.
yeah.
You know, I like the
Yeah.
novellas.
So if you're going to pin me down like that, you need to listen. You need to work this, because the language is not coming through here unless you're reading, of course. But language is coming through here, and then you need to work on pronunciation because it's got to come out this way.
What are some, just off the top of your head, some of the biggest mistakes people will make when they're either starting to try to learn a language, brush up on language? What is it? Is it Is it a wrong teacher? They started at the wrong point. What are some of the bigger mistakes? Is it not getting corrected and they mispronounce the word that they think they've been saying right, or what is it?
Yeah, that's one of the big things, is not saying it right, not pronouncing it right.
I guess not having the correction, right? Because think you're saying it right. The person that maybe does know is like, I know what he means, so I'm not going to correct him.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, thanks, man. No, it's cool. Thanks. Gotta have my coffee, man.
That's a good question, actually, Michael. That's a good question. So
I forgot what I asked.
Yeah, what's a good point to start?
Oh, okay.
That's a good question. There's it's not an easy answer, but you have to start. Well, pronunciation. Well, my methodology is listening and pronunciation. Okay, here's part of the tough thing is that in English we have 5 vowels, right? A, E, I, O, U. In Spanish we have 5 vowels, A, E, I, O, U. Okay. Mm-hmm. In English we have to learn how to pronounce 3 ways to say A.
Yeah,
3
the
ways
silent, the long.
Yeah, the long, the short, and all that. And when you speak Spanish, you try to pronounce like you read it. Like, so, ¿cómo estás? So most Americans say, ¿cómo estás?
Are you making fun of gringos right now? I feel like you're attacking me.
So, again, the teacher is going to say, hey, Michael, we need to work on your pronunciation. There's no long vowels in English. No long vowels. That's it. It's easy. You don't say A.
That's so funny. I've heard that. ¿Cómo estás? I've heard that. It's kind of funny. Because it's funny. I've actually heard gringos that are worse than me.
Oh, yeah.
And even I start kind of giggling because I'm like, damn, I thought I was bad. You really suck.
Yeah. So the thing you got to remember, and my methodology, I picked up what you need to work on, and it's no long vowels, right? So repeat with me. A. Mouth open. A. E. I. O. U. That's it.
I'm on my way, guys. I'm on my way.
That's it. Forget about O or Z or U. There's no U.
Right. So I want to, I lose my question if I don't ask it.
Say.
What was I going to say? I don't know. Keep going.
Yeah. So pronunciation is very important.
Oh, I know what I was going to ask. Yeah. So, would you use different? Okay, you say you would assess somebody's like where they are in their Spanish. What are you trying to do? Or are you just trying to learn conversation? So you would assess that situation. Is there? Do you use different techniques for different people, or is it all the same kind of way, but just in different points of how good their Spanish is? I mean, is there different techniques to teach somebody that may be pretty bad like me? Mm-hmm. You know the question? So I'm just trying to say, do you kind of just use the same thing for everybody, or is there certain things that you would change depending on their strengths and their own personal weaknesses?
Yes, yeah. No, I will focus on your strengths. If I know you're strong in pronunciation, then we'll work in something
I'm very
else.
strong.
Yeah.
I just did it. Oh, no. Estás.
Yeah. No, so we will work on, what needs to be improved in your language. Improvement. I'm all about improvement. I like to see improvement, and that's, you have to keep improving, right? And again, a good coach, you see it in basketball, you have to be able to show improvement. I'll usually, my son loves basketball, so we watch basketball, right? And it's like 2 seconds or before the game's over, and the coach says, timeout. And then everybody gets in, and the coach says something, right? And it's only like 2 seconds, 3 seconds before. And then I asked my son, I said, Kevin, what does he tell him in 2 seconds? Does he say, guys, you're going this way. Remember not to come this way. You're going that way. And that's it. Let's go. So what do you tell him, right?
Yeah.
So you have to know where they're at, right? He's watching. He knows they made a mistake somewhere, until he's saying, hey, guys, you didn't go this, right? So your teacher is very key. Your teacher is very key, right? And then you got to understand that, of course, you have a teacher, and then you have materials, right? You have tools. You have to have tools, like any skill that you want to learn, right? Duolingo, a lot of people use that. Those are tools, but you have to know how to use. So somebody gives you
Are any of those tools crutches? Like we were talking earlier before we started, like Google Translate is getting better and better. Is that making me weaker almost because I'm just going, I'm not going to think about it. Let me just punch this in and see what the word is.
Yeah. No, you just got to remember, that's what I tell students, right? If you break your leg and now you need a crutch, well, you're going to be walking with crutches for 2 months, right? Do you want to walk with the crutch for a year? No, right? You want to get rid of the crutch.
And you got to, but you got to start bending your knees.
That's right. You got to start bending your knees and using, your own self. You don't need crutches, right? So crutches are okay at the beginning, but you don't want to depend on them, right?
That's a good answer.
Yeah, you don't want to depend on crutches.
So what could somebody, okay, everybody knows I've been here 18 years. Everybody knows my Spanish isn't very good. So let's say Professor, I want to learn, I want to do better. What should my expectations be of how good I could be? Now I know, you could go, Michael, well, if you practice every day, 1 hour a day for the next 10 years, you could be so good. But let's be realistic. Let's be realistic, because obviously I'm not super committed, or I've already would have been super committed.
Yeah.
But let's say I commit myself and I want to learn, and I'm going to dedicate, let's say, 6 months with you. Maybe I want you as a teacher. Yeah. I'm going to really dedicate. What should I expect? What would the expectation? How good could I get? Oh, well, Mike, you'll probably be pretty good at basic conversations. The sky is the limit.
Yeah.
Or
somewhere in between.
I know you have to accent. You don't know. You have to see how I am. But I'm just wondering, when somebody's, really like the como estás guy that thinks he's saying things right. He's taking classes, but it's just not, it doesn't come easy,
Yeah.
And so we can only go so far with that. Just like somebody, they might want to play basketball, and they might even practice every day, but they still may suck.
That's right. That is true. That's true.
So I'm just wondering how, if I dedicated, because maybe that's enough for me to turn the corner and go, you know what? It's time. I need to get a little better.
Yeah. Well, it's like learning any skill, right? If it's a skill you want to learn, okay, so let me ask you, you're taking the ukulele, right?
Yeah, I do the ukulele.
So what's your commitment? Have you given yourself a time frame? Hey, I'll be playing this song in the ukulele in 3 months. Have you given that?
Actually, I kind of do that, but I kind of view it just a little bit different. I like learning the ukulele. I do practice. Sometimes I go an hour. Sometimes I just keep playing around for 2 hours. So I am interested in it. So I know that if I keep doing that, things are just will come, because I'm there's a lot of obviously lessons on the YouTube or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
And so I can take lessons when I want. I'll watch a lesson and just keep repeating it. If it takes me 5 days to catch those different chords and be able to hit them all and all that kind of thing. But can I sing along to it? No, because that's kind of a whole. Can I sing and play at the same time? Because that's actually a little difficult.
Of course.
So I don't move on until I can do the thing. So I don't say, well, I'm going to conquer that, because I may not, but I will eventually.
Okay.
But again, I'm dedicated to it. So it's a little different mindset, because I think in Spanish, although I would want to learn, I don't know if I'd be as committed as like the ukulele.
That's right. Okay. So that's the thing. You have to commit to learning the ukulele, right?
Yeah.
So once you commit, you said, hey, I have to do this in 6 months, whatever the time frame is. You have to find a coach again, or a music teacher, right? And he's going to help, or she's going to help you, okay? But the main part is going to be you. You're going to have.
Of course, yes.
I'm committed to learning the ukulele. I'm committed to learning Spanish in the next 6 months, okay? Now I know with my method, 6 months is a good time for me to turn a student into conversation.
I was just going to ask you that. If I was committed to Spanish as I was the ukulele, if I was an average student trying to learn Spanish, committed to it like I would do the ukulele, could I be pretty decent in Spanish? Would that be 2 months? Would it be a year? Obviously, I know everybody's different, but it's kind of a general. Would it be about 6 months?
Yeah, 6 months and maybe a little bit longer. Okay, because what you're telling me. But you know, one thing that you have going for you, like I have students that would love to come to Costa Rica and be here 2 weeks and engage with people and practice. You're already here, so you can put that to work.
Are you going to throw me under the bus? Is that what we're going to do? I thought,
you know, because a lot of people they say, well, the best way to learn Spanish is to go to Spain and be there 2 months, 3 months, and you have to be, you know, you have to get along. You will learn, of course, right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Yeah, I tell my students that are learning English, they're in Dallas, you know, where I have my other house, and they'll ask me the same thing. I said, well, you are here in Texas. A lot of students want to be here because they get a chance to practice, right? So you're already in the playing field. So take advantage of that.
All right, so let's talk about you for a second. Do you give lessons over the internet?
Yes, I do.
So if somebody was in Texas and you were sitting right here, could you give lessons for that person?
Yes, of course. Yes.
All right, so you know, I'm sure we could talk even more Spanish for quite a long time, but I think you're getting the drift of it all.
Yeah.
If you are interested in getting a hold of Professor Carlos, or how do you like to go by it? I mean, I'm going to call you Professor.
Professor Carlos, yeah.
If you're interested in learning Spanish and you want to chat to him or ask him how he does it, or you know anything, I'll put his email contact in the description of this video, and you can write him personally, and I'm sure you'll get back with him, right?
Yes, I sure will, yeah.
Well, I want to start, after we click off, let's start my Como Estás lesson. And
yes,
thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, I'm Michael Allen for TravelCostaRicaNow.com. Hey, things are going to pop up. If you're thinking about living or traveling anywhere, always do your homework and research. And if it has anything to do with Costa Rica, I'm going to put my videos against anybody. So I would check that one out and that one out. All right, man. Ciao.
Gracias. Ciao.